it is.
Something.
There it
Something or
is.
other.
Something did something. I don't.
Anybody remember that song? I don't know.
The tag team back again. There was actually two of those songs, and they vied for position. They were basically the same song. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know in fact.
I don't know.
There's
All that time period kind of runs together for various reasons.
there's also Rex and Effects with the Rum Shaker.
Rum Shaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all
There's
still
that.
kinds of runs together too, but I
It
kind of
all still
remember just
kinds of
that
too.
part
All right. What's
for
up, everybody?
reasons.
Welcome to episode 253 of this Uncanny Earth. Tonight we're talking about phobias. What is your phobia? We all have one. Everybody has a phobia. Not
Um, not
you've got
anymore. I mean, I
one.
used
You've
to.
got one. You still
I
got
got
one.
over it though. I did get over it. I used to have an absolutely crippling fear of heights. Like it was bad, like to the point where I couldn't get up on a ladder or I'd like freeze up. But I'm not that bad anymore. I got over it. I've been on like roofs, I've been on mountains, I've been on Diamond Head, all kinds of places. So, I'm good now.
Yeah, but there's always something that lingers in the back of the mind, whether we
I
know
don't know.
it or not. You just want to be argumentative. That's what you do. That's your thing. You're grouchy and grumpy and argumentative.
I just
It's
think
fun.
I'm some super brave guy who's not really afraid of that much. But
I know, but a brave in the
well, the
face
thing
of
about it is though,
complete
a
danger.
phobia is like a crippling fear. A phobia is like
Agreed.
you're just you don't know how to act because you're just so afraid of whatever it is. And I did have that with heights before, and I don't now. I don't have anything else that's that level. I mean, there's stuff that I don't care for that bothers me on a certain level and gets you that like feeling in your guts, but I don't have anything that cripples me like that anymore that I know of. I mean, I might discover something if I'm confronted with something, because sometimes we have things in there that we don't know about until we actually come face to face with it. So who knows?
Well, let's get into types of phobias. Now, the American Psychiatric Association, or the APA, not the APA from WWE, though it's a different group. Bradshaw and
Both of
Farouk are
them
not
were at
in
their
this.
best at that point.
That's true. Uh, it identifies three categories of phobias. One is a social phobia, which many people have, and that is, it is known as social anxiety disorder, and many Americans and people across the world suffer. Though I feel Americans suffer from it more than probably anybody
Mm.
else in the entire planet, and it's marked by a fear of social situations in which a person might be judged and or embarrassed. So, how many of you have these social phobias? Probably a couple of you have some social phobias.
Social media really brought that to the forefront. Like
Sure did.
the amount of people who didn't have or didn't know they had that. I mean, it's something that was always there. It got brought to the forefront with the
It's true.
relentless onslaught of people commenting on every single thing that you do, positive and negative. So, yeah,
That's true.
that's been a big
True.
thing with social media.
So yeah, social media pushing these social phobias, so which isn't good. It's not a good thing. I also think the news also pushes that social
Mm.
phobia too, with its relentless Group A did this to Group B did this to Group A's in your city
Mhm.
doing this to your city, Group B same, whatever, what have you. And I don't think they helped. Actually, I think they've made it
No.
worse. And I was reading something the other day that talked about like the 50s and how the 50s were a sort of a good and bad mix of good things and bad things. Obviously, Jim Crow laws weren't a good thing, but
Mm.
you had good things like you didn't have constant news all the time. There wasn't a 24-hour access to news, which I think is a good thing. I don't think that watching news all day is a good
Mm.
thing. I don't think
Mhm.
watching TV all day is a good thing, let alone the news. Anyways, yes, exactly. And so there's that. Now, the next one, this is one I'm not a big fan of, and that is agoraphobia. And that is involving the irrational or extreme fear of being in places where escape is difficult. I am not
Mm.
a fan of that. Crowded places or even leaving one's home. Now, I'm not afraid to leave, and it's only ever been It's never crippling, so I don't know what to do. I just get angry and start pushing people out of the way. This happened to me in DC during the Cherry Blossom Festival. The festival itself was fine, but once we got food, we were trying to get food. We were trapped in the middle of like
Mm.
1,000 people, and you're dead center. Nah, that doesn't sit well for me. I turn into
I
all
had
confusing.
I had shows that I would go to when I was a lot younger, like really early 20s sometimes, where you're up there with the crowd and everybody's like, yeah, and moving around.
Yeah,
And it gets so thick sometimes that you got to get out. And that happened to me once
yeah.
at a Perfect Circle show
Oh,
way, way, way back in like 2003. It was too much going on all at once. There was just
I
too many
feel that.
people, and I had to get out of the thick of it. It wasn't like moshing and things because you don't do that at a Perfect Circle, of course. But
No, I don't think the music gets that. I think the music
no,
gets that heavy in a
no.
perfect circle.
But there was just so many people and just so much. It was too much for me, and I had to
I
get
get
out
it.
and go back and get out of the crowd and watch from way,
Yeah.
way in the back. But I've been at
Oh yeah.
other shows since then and not had that. But I can identify with that. I get that. It's something
Yeah.
that just you get into a lot of people, a lot of stuff is going on. There's a lot of sound, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff assaulting your senses all at
Yeah.
once,
I was in
and
a
it's so hard to focus.
I was in a restaurant in Fayetteville, West Virginia a few months back, and it was a cool restaurant. It was an old church that converted into a bookstore slash eating establishment. Food was good, but it was on a Saturday, and it was a
Mm,
busy Saturday.
yeah.
And we got placed at a table sort of in the back, and the lady that was calling out orders was right to my left, like literally, like if you looked over to your left, like she was
So you
like,
got that shouting every few
yes.
seconds.
And there's too many people, like, and we're packed into the back, so like I can't leave.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, I could leave. Like, it wasn't like it was a crazy situation. I could have got up
Yeah.
and just left, but obviously because of the company I was with, I'm just going to get up and leave. But I could just feel myself getting like more hostile and more upset. I don't like being trapped. Like,
Hmm.
I don't. I like it's weird because if I'm by myself, I could just leave. But I feel like if I'm with somebody and that happens, I don't want to ruin their good time. And I kind of did, and I felt bad about that. But like,
It's like that time we
oh
went
man, it's
to.
tough.
Where did we go? We went to. I'm not going to say the circumstances because people might get upset. But we went to you and I. We went to that restaurant. We were at the bar, right? And you were real nervous. What was it like? It was it wasn't Chili's. It was like TGI Fridays or something.
Oh yeah, that was.
It's the same kind of thing, but there were other
Whoa.
things going on at
Oh
the
yeah,
time. I
there
know
was there
we
was some other sensory
we'd been having a
inducing
good
things.
time.
Yeah, we did.
Not like don't get any weird ideas.
Yeah,
I
no, don't
mean,
get any funny
not
business.
that kind of good time, but we'd been
No.
chilling out and things, and we went to eat, and the atmosphere
Oh,
got to you.
bad.
It
The
just
steak was
got to you.
trash too.
And I was kind of okay, but I could see, I
Oh
knew what
yeah.
was going on. Like you were just like,
Yeah.
this sucks. And I'm like, all
It
right,
was awful.
try to
He had
eat
to drive home.
fast. Yeah, try to eat fast and get it over with. But it was the same kind of situation. It was just like things were not right. So
Yeah, and I felt bad. The person that I was with that time, I felt bad because I was kind of a jerk. Not meaning to be a jerk, but like once I feel trapped, my only thought is I need to escape. But if I
mhm.
can't escape because of the situation that I'm in, and the food had already been ordered, and I'm like, no, I can't leave. So I just got madder and madder, and then it just like it'll ruin a whole day. So
Mm.
now I don't do that anymore. Now I just like, hey, do you mind if we leave because I can't? Like I'm not, and and other times I've been fine. I've gone to other places that were twice as busy and was perfectly fine. Like, oh, I'm cool. But I just
It's
didn't, the atmosphere was terrible. The people there were like, I don't know, man.
You didn't know any
oh,
of
it was
those people,
awful.
which was the thing. When we
Yeah,
went
but
to,
I don't know people at places I've gone to.
well, we would go to like work parties and stuff, and we'd be fine because technically, even
Yeah.
though you don't know people, you know everybody because you work with everybody,
Or you're in
and there's
or
a
you're
ton
in
of
your
people going
city.
on.
right? Or you're in your city or your climate. You're like,
Yeah,
"Nah, I'm cool.
you're there's something familiar
Yeah,
to
you're right.
anchor to, kind of. It's if you're in a place where it's just like there's nothing to grab onto other than maybe one other
Oh,
person, and they're comfortable with it, and you're not. It throws you off
yeah, 100%.
because you can't match that. You can't just, you know. Deadpool thinks he's got jokes. He thinks he's got jokes.
Y'all two should
See if I
fight.
recommend you any more music.
You two should fight in fundoshis.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't want to know what that is. Fundoshis. I did
Okay.
it wrong. Fundoshis. Y'all look
Okay.
that up. Y'all look up what a fundoshi is.
I'm
It's
not going to look it up
hilarious.
because of the way you said that. The way you
Y'all
said
two
that
should.
gives me a
Y'all.
phobia now, so no, I'm not going to do it.
You two should fight in fundoshis for charity. I'm not gonna watch it, but you two should do that for
Is
charity.
that the sumo thing?
Yeah,
The
kind of.
underwear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not doing that.
They used to wear
Yeah, I'm
those
not doing
back
that.
in. They used to wear those back in feudal Japan too. Like that was like the common underwear to wear. I mean, yeah. I mean, listen, it's less things to wash, so I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I'm
It ain't
not doing
making
that
me
though.
laugh. It ain't making me
Mm.
laugh, but I get it. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, he made some dad jokes on the stream, and I was like, I'm gonna ban you from my stream, and you're never allowed to come back. I'm kidding though. I love Deadpool. He's a good dude. So next up, we have specific phobias. Now, these are your arachnophobias and your astrophobias, things like that. These are very like
My favorite
specific,
too,
centered thing.
triskaidekaphobia.
We'll get into that. We will get
Yeah,
into
I'm
that
not going to say what it
fast.
is yet. I just wanted to mention it because it's funny.
So yeah, so those are the three types of phobias. But now we're going to get into the four major specific phobia types. Yeah, that's for your dad jokes on my stream last time. Take that. I'm kidding.
A lot of
So
people have that though.
we have natural environment phobias, and that is like astrophobia, which I believe is lightning, hydrophobia, which is water,
Hmm.
that sort of thing. Then we have animals like batrachophobia and equinophobia. Equine. So you probably know what that one is. I don't. Let's get into this. Do you have any natural phobias? I think my only natural phobia. I don't. It's not a phobia really. I think I'm overstating this, but I have like a weird thing about tidal waves. Like
Hmm.
I just something about them is terrifying to me. Like being caught in one. I'm talking
That
like
could
one of
be a
those
phobia because,
gigantic tidal waves. But listen, I'll swim in the ocean. It's
yeah.
fine. I'm not afraid of water, but like I think of like that or like a tornado,
Mm,
man. And I'm not a fan of wind either. Like windstorms, not a fan because the power goes out, and then I'm
yeah.
back in the little house on the prairie days, lighting candles for warmth and for light. But that's not a
The
phobia.
thing,
That's just being inconvenienced.
well, the thing about phobias is they're kind of irrational too. It's not necessarily that it's just something that's you're like afraid of. It's an irrational fear almost because it's
Yeah, I
something
get
you
it.
fear almost all the time when you're in a certain situation. Like if you're by the ocean and the waves are kind of high, you're thinking, tidal waves. Oh my gosh, is there going to be a tidal wave today? Even if there's no indication that a tidal wave is going to happen,
Right,
you have that thought in your head, and that's what makes it
right.
a phobia. It's irrational fear. Um, I don't really have something like that. I kind of have something that I've kind of grappled with for the last couple years, and I didn't think it was that bad, but I guess it's right. But I don't think it applies to this, so I'll bring it up later. Um, but yeah, it's irrational fears like that, like
Yeah,
tornadoes. I get that thing in my gut when there's like, oh, tornado warning, watch your phone, and the siren goes off. I go out and stand on my porch anyway to confront it because I'm stupid.
yeah. You're
Um,
not wrapped too tight.
but I don't have the phobia of it because I just go out there and I'm like, let's see if the tornado's out here. Okay, I don't see no tornadoes. I think I'm good.
Now, see,
But
that's weird, Apple, because I love touching the ocean floor with my feet. I love it, and I also hate it. I love it to the point of like, because when I went to Hawaii back in 2013, there was a very cool. I swam in the Pacific. I swam in the
Mm,
Pacific Ocean,
mhm.
since everybody's
That
called the
specific
Pacific. The
Pacific
Pacific,
Ocean.
right? So I swam out, and I'm like, I probably went like half a mile out. I love swimming, so like half a mile out. Um, I found a sandbar right in the middle, and there was nothing better than putting my feet in that sand. And it wasn't yucky, suck your feet in the water sand that like lakes have. I hate that. That's my least favorite. I don't like lake sand because you end up it's like a mud. But like that Pacific Ocean sand, and then I just was able to sit on the sandbar with like my chest out, like my chest and like the biceps and triceps, and the water was coming down and it was just glistening off of my biceps and triceps. Yeah, that's right. That's
I
the kind
don't
of
care
shit.
for the image
No
that you're
people
trying to
left.
project right now.
Listen, but
I see what you're doing,
I
but
like
let's
that.
not do that.
I like that. I like that part. Um, but yeah, I don't mind that necessarily. The only thing I hate about ocean floors is when you get the rocks and they cut your feet. Because I've had my feet straight up cut on those rocks. And yes, it
And
is.
that can happen. Yeah, that
That
can happen.
yeah, badly.
Especially at
So
like the lake because you got the glass and things. You get beach
rivers.
glass here and
Rivers are
rivers. You
bad
don't
for
get
that
that so
too.
much in the ocean because it washes
No,
out.
but you get like
Shells
sharp rocks and
and
shells.
rocks
Oh,
and things, yeah.
I have 100% cut my feet a couple times. Oh, yeah. What are you gonna do? Oh, and that's another thing about irrational fears. They come sometimes they just come from nowhere.
Yeah,
They just come out of the but
yeah.
you have an experience that sits in your subconscious that you don't really understand. Then one day you're like, oh, I'm afraid of this. So next up are animals, which I just talked about, but we'll talk about it again. I don't really have that. I don't. I have the natural sense not to mess with certain animals. I'm not going to go
Mm,
poking wolves and bears, but like I don't see a bear in the zoo and get super afraid. I'm like, oh, it's a freaking bear. That's freaking awesome. Or like a wolf.
yeah.
I don't get afraid of that. So there's that. Some people have animal phobias. I don't really know anybody that has an animal phobia. Insect phobias are a little bit different, but they're still considered animals. And that's justified. I get it. I get the insect phobia because they're an uncomfortable, almost
Yeah.
primordial aspect of our society that not a lot of people are cool with. They don't bother me none. Like I don't mind. I just tried to save a bumblebee today, but it's getting cold out, so they're dying. So I just put them on a little rock and let them, you know. There's that,
Let
and then
nature do its thing.
there's mutilation and medical treatment
Mm,
phobia. Now I know a couple people that have this kind of a phobia. They have the phobia of needles.
mhm.
They have the phobia of something just going wrong. Waking up without an arm that they were supposed to take. There's been medical cases where they get put down and they lose the arm, but then that wasn't the arm they were supposed to cut off. So they got to cut off the other arm, and now they don't have any arms. And so
Yeah.
there's that. I don't fear. It's crazy. I don't fear rabies either. I'm not really like you can ask Abby, you can ask a lot of people. There's not too many things on that level I'm really too concerned about, oddly enough. Um, so you have that. Then you have situations. Situations. Now there are situations that I have been in where you get a little nervous. I think aerophobia is kind of a big one. Flying on airplanes, being nervous about being now me personally, I'm not nervous about being on an airplane.
Mm,
That doesn't bother me. I like the takeoff, I like the landing. My mother doesn't like either of those things. I love
mm.
them. I love to watch out the window of it and watch the plane's wheels lift off the ground. It's
And
so cool to me.
that was something that I didn't know if I would have a problem with or not when I went on my first flight like 20 years ago. I went
Oh,
to
you went to
California
California. Yeah, you did. You went to
by
California.
myself, like nobody else. I just bought the ticket. I was like, I'm gonna go visit somebody. I'm gonna go. I picked a window seat on purpose because it was one of those places where you could actually
Yeah.
pick your seating. But I picked the window seat on purpose because like I don't know if I can handle it and I have to be able to handle it. I'm going on this trip. So I gotta confront it, whatever it is. And it wasn't like the plane itself and all that was fine. I get my stomach gets weird on planes, like the way that the movement is. I can feel the motion and the different as you're going up and down, and it just makes you feel
Right.
like, ugh. But as
Don't
far
bother
as
me in
like
the
being
slightest.
afraid of everything, all that's fine. Even the turbulence part really wasn't that bad. You
No.
get that initial feeling like the plane's shaking. Are we gonna fall apart and just whatever? But after that, you're
Yeah,
kind of
of
like,
course.
okay, everything's good. Whatever. Everybody else
My
is calm.
my first flight was a 10-hour flight, like a series of different planes were like all together a 10-hour flight. That was my first flight.
Mm,
And then my second flight was like an hour and a half. And it was simple. It was cake. Jumped
yeah.
on, jumped off. It was cool. That was my flight to Boston. That
The
was fun.
Hawaii flights weren't bad at all. Like, and it had been years
Nah.
since I'd been on that other one. They were just long, and it was just like, oh, they took forever. But they weren't frightening. They were just
No.
like, whatever.
Yeah,
I got the
like
stomach thing, but other than that, like, it wasn't that bad. So
yeah, it's same. Deadpool has a fear of heights like you did.
I get that. I would be like, I would get up on stuff. When I was a kid, I went to Kentucky to visit my grandparents once. We went on a family vacation, and we went on this hike. And there was a spot where you go up on this cliff, and you get to overlook like the forest up below. And I couldn't. Like, I could see where the edge was, and I knew there was going to be an overlook up there, looking over it, and I couldn't even get close to it. Like, I just was
Wow.
like, I couldn't even see it. I knew it was there, and I was stuck, and I was like, I can't do it. I'm better now. Like, I could go do it now. I climbed on Diamond Head when we were in Hawaii,
Oh
went all the
yeah.
way up in the observation post and all that stuff.
Same. Same.
And I'm good. Been on planes and all that. But back then, I couldn't. I
It's
was
for me,
stuck.
like the height is how safe am I like I went to Tennessee and went on a Space Needle. It was pretty
Mm,
legit. You take the elevator up, it was cool. However, you get up there and the planks dip when you walk on
yeah,
them. They're supposed to do this. They're
yeah.
supposed to do this. They're not rotten. They're just that's how it
So the
maintains from
wind
falling
doesn't take
over.
anything
Yeah.
down. They're supposed to move with the wind.
So that's kind of terrifying, like a little bit, because you're like, man, if this board gives out, that's it for you, boy. I'm done.
Mm.
I'm not making it out of here. But it's funny because then I went on a ski lift. The ski lift was dope. I was good. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
You just ride it
Like
all up. Yeah.
it was so cool. Like I'm looking down, I'm seeing like the little ants. That's what I call people when I get up real high and they're real tiny. I call them ants. And it was just so cool to like be up that high. It doesn't bother me. It only bothers me if I don't have like a safe connection. Like if I'm on a roof, I'm not a fan of being on a roof. Do not like it. I don't like being on. I'll go. Like
Send
it's not
Hornacki to do that.
crippling. Yeah, you definitely send Hornacki to go. Hornacki, get up on that roof. Get up on that roof, clean out them air conditioners. You know your drill. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. So let's get into a couple of types of phobia. Let's get into some actual phobias here. And so acrophobia is the fear of heights. So if you have acrophobia, you have a fear of heights. I think yes, that it is a rational fear, very
Mhm.
much so, because human beings are. I think phobias are caused, well, at least by one main thing. We're mortal. If we were immortal and we couldn't die, there would be no such thing as a phobia. You wouldn't really need to be afraid of anything because what is it going to do? Now, the one thing that I think is not is something that's a primordial thing that we have is acluophobia, which is the fear of darkness. And I think all of us, I think every person for the most part has that fear. And I don't think it's a fear so much as it's just something that sits, because if you ever think about it, like we walk through the forest during the day just fine. We're not worried about
Mhm.
anything. But walk through the forest at night and it's a different thing. You're like, well, what if so and so is hiding in the shadows? Or what if there's a monster beast in the shadows? Or I don't want to look in, like it's like that pile of laundry in your room. If you see it during the day, oh, it's just a pile of laundry. But at night, it takes on another shape. And
Mhm.
that's something I think that we have had based on something that just it's something that we've had, and I think it's been passed down via DNA. I think that's how it is. Now I'm the exact opposite. I have to sleep in complete darkness.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. The darker it is, like I can't have lights
yes,
on. I can't have stuff where I can see things. I want to just be able
no,
to just close my eyes, go to sleep.
yep.
I
Yep.
usually
I
sleep
will.
with a hoodie on with my eyes covered
Same.
up
Same.
because I gotta be able to block it all out. I gotta sleep.
Yeah, because some people will sleep with like a light on. And
I
I can't
can't.
sleep with a light on. There are
Like, it's
people that will
so difficult.
literally sleep with a light on, and
I've
they'll be
done it,
like,
but I
"I
I
gotta
don't
sleep
like
with
it.
this light on." I don't care for it. I don't like sleeping with a light on, but that's fine because I'll wear like a beanie and just wear the beanie over my eyes, and
Mm.
then that simulates complete darkness for me, and that's okay. Like I can deal with it that way. But man, nothing worse unless I'm napping. Oddly enough, if I'm napping during the day, it doesn't bother me as much because you're napping. It's a different thing.
Mm.
So like I have to sleep. Like if I'm sleeping at night, it's got to be complete darkness. I can't just be like,
Yeah.
well, I think I'll just sleep with this light on. I used to be able to sleep with the TV on because it's noise, and I need noise.
Yeah.
I need noise. I have to have a fan or like a rain or a breeze outside. I can't sleep in total silence. I hate it. I hate it. I
Now,
hate hearing things.
for me, I mean, that's kind of the thing too. I used to sleep. I used to put on ambient music in the background
Oh yeah, I've done it.
to sleep to.
Yeah.
I can't now because now, with the way that I've been in my neighborhood for so long, I'm too paranoid about people
Oh
trying to
yeah.
like knock in the door and things. So I
Yeah.
have to be able to, everything has to be quiet enough. Even the air
Oh,
conditioner
that's
bugs
awful.
me because if the air conditioner's on, I can't hear if there's noise downstairs.
I
And so I'm
can't.
constantly on edge all night because I got to be able to hear if
No.
there's somebody busting in my house, which is not likely to happen, but there's a phobia for you that somebody might bust in my house. It's less a fear and more like a, because if somebody busted out, I'm gonna freak out and be like, ah, and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still a thing that I'm like, I can't sleep effectively if I have noise now because I have to be able to hear if there's going to be noise.
Nope. If you're coming to take me out, let's go. I ain't got all day. Let's go. Um, so anthropophobia is the fear of people or society. And that's a big one. Like there's a lot of people that are actually wait, is this? That's I'm too paranoid someone's gonna talk to me or I'll miss an important noise that I won't use both earbuds. Oh, I only use one half of my earbuds because it's uncomfortable. I can't sleep with both of them and I can sleep with one. Some of those hertz wave frequencies vids mess me up when they randomly pop in the algorithm while I'm sleeping. That's why I don't really sleep to music much. I sleep to Mystery Science Theater 3000 or old radio programs. I used to try to sleep to those wave frequencies, but that shit's kind of that stuff's kind of paranoid. Like it's a little bit on the paranoid side. I don't care for it. Like it's the way it dips and drops into more deeper tonalities for me that mess me up. I can't. I'm like the ones that are like your angel frequency is set to 632 hertz and it's terrible. You're like, this is no, It's like those people that just all they do is ayahuasca, and you're having their ayahuasca trip, and it's awful.
Hmm.
So I get that. Like, I'm not a fan of the hertz wave frequencies. I don't like
ASMR,
them.
people
Oh, just
chewing
people
and things in the
eating.
background. That's
Listen,
not ASMR. Stop it.
there's nothing more annoying than hearing people eat. I will literally fist fight you if I hear you eat. I don't
Slurping
like it.
soup.
Mm-mm.
Don't
Mm-mm.
do it.
They can slurp something else. These knuckles. No, not what you were thinking. So there's that. Um, now, bibliophobia is the fear of books. You're afraid of books. Why are you afraid of books? Are you afraid of the knowledge within? Are you afraid of
It's an
what are you afraid
irrational
of?
fear. That's
That
why
is
it's a
highly
phobia.
irrational.
It's
Can never be.
irrational.
It hurts my soul. Hurts. Get it? Hurts.
Nah, nah, nah.
Hurts. Get it? Oh yeah, Ska's music for people that like to be always anxious. That's what ska music is. It's just anxious music. Here, we'll fix that, Apple. There you go. Get it? Hurts my soul. Hurts. That's right. Hurts. A dad joke that in there.
Not to derail the whole show, but this is actually a good point to mention real quick that if you want to hear some terrible jokes for an entire half hour to 45 minutes, the two of us are going to hang out after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
Let's talk
yeah,
about this podcast, and all we're gonna do is tell bad jokes back and forth. It's just gonna be bounce. Me tell a joke, he tells a joke. Me tell a
yeah,
joke, he
yeah,
tells a joke.
yeah,
Bad
yeah.
jokes for 45 minutes straight.
45 minutes straight.
It's gonna be the worst, and
Straight.
I'm all in for it.
We're all in. It's going to be on Twitch. It's going to be on everything you've ever loved in your
Just
entire
wait.
life. It's going to
Just
be
wait.
great. It's going to be great. Now, a next one that makes sense is daemonophobia. This is the fear of demons. Now, that makes sense. I could get that. It's almost like a fear of the unknown type of thing. And that to me is understandable. I think especially if you're a Christian,
It's a
or
very specific, like, religious kind of thing, and I get it.
yes,
Especially if you're Catholic. If you're a Catholic person,
yeah, because of
it's
possession
probably
and
most
stuff.
likely because that's
Yeah.
real big in Catholicism.
Mhm. The next thing that I don't think anybody here is afraid of, I know I'm not afraid of it, and that's erotophobia, and that is the fear of sex. That is the fear of sex. So I don't think anybody here has that fear.
Some
And
people can develop that if you've had,
well,
like, abusive relationships and
if you've had
things, you know?
traumatic experiences, I could get that, but just to
Yeah.
have it out of the blue is definitely irrational. I could get it if it's a traumatic experience, but just to
Usually
have
there's a
it,
reason for that, like a buildup,
yeah,
I would
100%.
guess.
Now, one thing that not me or my co-host have, and that is evident as you have seen them on many of our shows, are hoodlums, mind you, and that's elurophobia, and that is the fear of cats, which nobody here has. I don't have a fear of cats. Should bring 'em.
What are you doing,
Yeah,
buddy?
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he's off
Mine
screen
are
right now, but
mine are outside the door because I have a ledge where they can jump up on the window, and they would be making all kinds of stupid noise. So, I don't think anybody has either of those phobias. I know I do not. Now a lot of people here, and I think this is a commitment issue, gamophobia, and that is the fear of marriage. I think that is more of a commitment issue. People may be afraid of commitment. So to them, marriage is kind of the ultimate commitment in a way, So they have a fear of that. Now, one that a lot of people have that I think that is also justified is hemophobia. And that is the fear of blood, except Dracula, he doesn't have that. He
a
needs
lot of
it.
people I know have said, "Oh, I can't stand the sight of blood." And,
And he's
I
coming
get it,
for it tonight.
but it's hard to kind of say whether it's a fear of the blood itself or just a fear of, oh, there was an injury that caused that blood to spurt out, and I'm afraid that that could happen to me. Oh my gosh. And it just gets into your head like that. But some people just aren't like that. They're just like, they see the blood, and the blood itself frightens them. And that's where it becomes kind of irrational because we've all got, blood flowing through us. But if you tell somebody with
Unless you're a
that,
vampire, you don't have blood flowing through you.
right, if you repeatedly
Or
tell somebody,
Danzig.
you're fine, get over it, you've got blood inside you, they will become afraid of themselves
Does the blood
if
go
they
up the
really
walls?
have, so
You
it's
make
kind of a
this
tricky
house
area.
bleed right now.
Pay good money for it.
Do you want some cookies? Danzig? Haunted Kitchen?
Haunted kitchen.
He's gonna be eating he's gonna be eating he's gonna be eating
Stanley.
cereal out of your skull. The next one, this is one that we're gonna work on together. Hippopotomonstrosis quipadellophobia.
Ouch, that's a lot of words.
That's the fear of long words. Yes, good job.
Ah, hey, la.
Fear of king words. I just fear disease in humans a lot, in animals and humans alike. I think yes, and then I think no. I don't think it's typos kill me. All right. So also, hydrophobia. That's obvious. That's water. Everybody knows that.
I played that game too, by the way.
That game is amazing. I played that game as well.
I played that game because it was on your list when we were game sharing.
Ah, nice.
I stole it, and then I couldn't play it anymore, so I had to buy it for like $5.
Well, it was super cheap. I think there's a couple games that when we were game sharing, but leucophobia. That's the fear of the color white. Obviously, I don't have that color because I'd be fresh. I'd be fresh as I is in white.
With your shoes and everything.
That's right. You're damn right.
Those white shoes. They're Reeboks.
No, they're not. They're K-Swiss. Don't do
Oh,
that.
okay. All right.
No,
Well, you
don't do
got
that.
some Reeboks though, don't you?
I did. They were uncomfortable, so they didn't
All
get.
right.
They didn't get.
Okay. I know it wasn't 100% wrong, just like 89% wrong.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Next up, I could make a joke here, but I ain't gonna. I ain't scared of much. Just don't like much.
Scared.
I ain't scared.
I'm scared.
That would be a hard phobia to avoid.
Yeah, because white's everywhere. You got white doors, white buildings, white everything.
You got the whiteness that I wear, and you'd be like, man, he's shining on him. I'm afraid of that. Another hard phobia to avoid would be megalophobia, and that's the fear of large things.
No comment. It's not that kind of show. I'll stop.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
but people can be afraid of large buildings.
Yeah.
People can be afraid of like large vehicles. Like around here in Ohio, we get people who think they're from like the deep south and think they have to have like these really lifted trucks because they're going to go off road.
Well, that just means they're overcompensating. So we have a.
But you could be afraid of those.
We have a saying for those type of folks, but we won't do that here. We won't do.
It's not that kind of show.
Sorry about your lack of respect. That's what I say. And no, not everybody that drives those are douchebags, but a large portion of them are. So, anyways, not the point of this conversation. Octophobia, that is the fear of the figure 8. Fear of the figure 8. That'd be a very odd fear to me. Like, you fear the figure 8. Like, of all the things, you could be real cool and just put the figure 8 outside of their house. They'll never leave.
Because a figure 8 isn't necessarily always the number 8 because people make the number
infinite.
8 sometimes.
It's
it's some people do their 8s like that way, in which case it'll bother you, but other people do it as 2 circles. So it's a really conditional kind of thing.
All right, Deadpool, we will leave the figure 8
alone. Leave Brittany alone.
Leave her alone. Noctophobia is fear of the night. Fear of the night. Couple that with nyctophobia, and that's the fear of the dark. So not only are you afraid of the night, you're afraid of the dark. Very interesting. Like I said,
a lot of people do have that. I think that's it's like we talked about earlier. It's an ingrown.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those things from back when we were sitting around fires and caves, and we just didn't know what was out there. Yeah, because darkness has been here forever. So
I don't necessarily think the fires and caves. I just think that civilization's rising and collapsing. Because nothing would be worse than your civilization collapsing in the middle of the night. Fires burning. Oh, it'd be awful. Next up, a lot of people have this next fear. I know somebody who has this fear irrationally so, and that's ophidiophobia, and that's the fear of snakes. The fear of snakes. Like this person has this fear so bad that if they see them there it is. But it fell flat because it's not spelled that way. Knacked. It's knocked and nicked. So we'll keep the dad jokes in this vicinity here.
The snake thing though is like the spider thing. It's
primordial.
A primordial deal, and it's almost one of those uncanny valley situations.
One of my family members down in West Virginia, she will 100% pull a shovel out and stab snakes to death if she sees them in anywhere near her house, even in the ditch, which isn't by her house. It's probably like, a good 100, 200 feet away from the house. She'll go out there with a shovel and stab it. She just doesn't like snakes, like deathly afraid of snakes, like a crazy phobia. I get it. It's that primordial thing. And plus down in West Virginia where they live, like you get poisonous snakes. You don't get them here in Ohio because it's too damn cold. So you don't get the same. You get few. You get copperheads, I think.
But not often.
I like snakes. They don't bother me none. I've seen a couple. They look cool.
I got bit by a snake once in my own backyard. That was funny.
I believe that. That sounds like
I was trying to save him. Like he was in the driveway first, and I put him in a bucket, and then I was trying to like help him get someplace else, and he bit me.
You
But he
should have.
wasn't poisoned. He was just a garter snake. So
You should have chucked him in. You should have chucked him from the bucket. Do the heave ho.
I was trying to be nice. I was like, he was in the road. I didn't want him to get run over. He was just a little snake. Come on, man. So I was just like, nah. But he bit me.
I think you guys have like one or two more than we do. I think you have more poisonous water snakes than we do because we don't have a lot of poisonous water snakes. I could be wrong. I don't know if I'm not. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to be bit by a snake, and I would for sure be cautious around them and find them creepy, but I don't know if I would call it a phobia. Like, I see a spider, instantly have a desire to kill it, even if I let it go outside of my brain. Just won't stop obsessing over them, coming after me later. What counts as a phobia? Does fear have to be Yeah, I think so. I think 100% yes. Like, people are afraid of books. That's an irrational phobia. Now, here's something that'll terrify all of you. A hornet can, like, especially a Japanese hornet, can learn your face.
Oh, those big ones. Ooh.
And it will come for you with its homies. So if you kill it, it releases a pheromone that releases or that brings all of its people together like, hey, they killed our homie. If it stings you, it releases that pheromone too, which says, come sting this guy. Let's all sting them together with super stings. It's terrible. It sucks. Don't do it. You don't want to do it. Now, here's another one that some of you might have. And, makes sense. And that's pathophobia. And that is the fear of disease. The fear of disease. That's a big one. That is a big one. I think a lot of people
especially big. I think a lot of people developed that over the last few years. Not to make any, I'm not going to go further than that because the video will get taken down.
Yeah, we'll get copied. We'll get hit again. Thanks to you.
I was good about it. My gosh.
No, you weren't. Not according to YouTube.
I was. They just don't know what they're doing. No. But yeah, a lot of people probably have this because you're bombarded by it a lot. Like a few years ago, I say a few years ago, but it was like 10 years ago, the Ebola scare.
I remember that. I don't think anybody was really scared of it.
Well, I remember because my daughter was going to be born like real soon around that time. And we'd gone to doctor's appointments, whatever. And we went to a restaurant after the appointment was over. And one of the ladies there, every time somebody touched a doorknob or whatever, she was over there. Spray, wipe off. Like, super quick about it. Within seconds of anybody touching it or her touching it or anything, wiping it off. Like, crazy about it. Because she had that fear. She's like, oh, they're saying Ebola's coming for us.
Right.
I'm afraid of it. And people got that the last few years. It's the same kind of thing. You identify something. I'm afraid of it. Oh no, wipe off, put the thing on, put everything on, like hazmat suit, don't go anywhere. And it's unfortunate, but it's a new phobia for a lot of people.
Another one.
I believe it.
Another one that I think stems from sort of like a fear of like connection and disease is philomathophobia. They've always had it for weird stuff. I get it. And that's the fear of kissing, which I do not have that fear.
I can see that, I guess.
To piggyback off of that, philophobia is the fear of love, which I think also is a rational fear. You don't want to get hurt. You've seen other people get hurt. You don't want to be that same person that gets you. Because listen, there's nothing worse than a heartbreak. That's the worst. Because it's not like if you break a bone or you cut yourself, it heals. It'll 100% heal after so long. But a broken heart's a tough thing to heal. So
emotional scars are the worst kind of scars.
Facts. Podophobia is the fear of feet. The fear of that was hilarious. Good old Gintama. That was hilarious. It was like a bug that they had to eat. And he goes up trying to eat it, and he kisses it because it's got a human face, but it's got lips. Oh, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. I get it. Let's see. Pyrophobia is the fear of fire, which I think is also a primordial thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a very primordial thing. Samhainophobia. That is the fear of
It's very
Halloween.
specific.
Very
That's
specific.
very specific.
I think that could be a religious thing too. I think it definitely could be something of that caliber. You know,
Yeah.
you believe this, and so you're afraid of that. Selenophobia is the fear of the moon. Fear of the moon. That's an interesting phobia right there. Because
That's legit.
yeah,
That's
I think
legit.
once
I
again
would
it's a
say so.
primordial thing.
Yeah. Because the moon comes out, wolves howl at it, like animals, like things get
Yeah,
weird with a full moon. Like we know that it affects our mood, it affects the tides, it affects things.
yeah,
Back before we knew that all that stuff was natural stuff, primitive people were probably just like,
yeah,
I feel weird and I don't know why. It's the moon's up there. Oh, and
yeah.
develop this kind of stuff. I get it.
The one girl that
100% get it.
says that the one girl that will tell you that she's an asparagus. And so her house is in the third moon sign and she's an asparagus. I get it. I get it. I
I
get
have
it.
no idea what you're talking about, but
I think too though, because of like change in tide, like and being able to see
yeah,
the changes, not even to mention like sometimes it's straight blood red. And
yeah.
if you know,
You
a lot
you
of
get like the harvest
civilizations
moons, the
go
hunter moons, the
nuts.
pink moons.
Yeah, it went nuts. I think civilizations go nuts because you know if you don't, it's like an eclipse. If you don't ever see an eclipse or you don't have anybody be able to explain that to you, you think the world's ending.
Yeah,
You're like, oh my
yeah,
god, this is terrible. I think a lot of these are more or less primordial fears, um, just based on the fact that when our ancestors, like I'm not talking about our ancestors like 5-10 years ago. I'm talking like 200-300 years ago.
yeah.
You know, especially you live
Thousands
out
of
in the
years
middle of
ago, way
nowhere. Yeah,
back,
thousands of years ago.
before
Wouldn't
Sigourney Weaver.
wouldn't you like to know? Probably your mother. Um, the next one here that I know um, many of us are not afraid of, and that's Venus strepphobia, and that's the fear of beautiful women. Nobody's afraid of that.
Yeah, I don't get that.
That's highly irrational.
It is kind of a thing these days, though. Like you get people who are really insecure, and I don't want to make any jokes about people if you know if you have trouble with social interaction. I don't want to make it come off like I'm doing that. But some people are really insecure and they'll see somebody that they think is attractive and they'll be just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid," and they're stuck. That's a sitcom joke that comes up all the
Yeah,
time. Like, you used to watch those sitcoms back in the day, like Friday night, whatever, it's all the funny shows.
yeah.
And oh yeah, I'm gonna go on a date. Oh, eh, eh, eh,
I'm gonna
eh,
ask her out
eh,
because they feel like she's out of their
you
league,
know,
so they have
and then
that
they would get
fear of being
stuck
out of
in that
league.
thing.
Yeah, like they're glitching out.
But it's a real kind of thing. People do
I
kind of
get
get
it.
like that sometimes. I don't know. I don't identify with that. I don't understand it, but
I don't understand it either. I don't know. Verminophobia. Now, this is something that a lot of people have, and that's the fear of germs. I don't know.
mm,
I know a germaphobe. They are up
yeah,
and down the street a germaphobe. Like
yep.
they
Carry the
will
wet
wipe off
wipes.
everything.
Yeah,
Everything. They're not as bad about it as they used to be. Like when they were probably like, I would say when they were, man, probably like 16, 17, they're bad. Like, you know, they were bad about it. They didn't like their stuff touched. They didn't want anybody to touch anything. They wiped down everything. Drop of a hat. You
mm,
touched it, it was wiped off. It was
yeah,
crazy. It was crazy. But I get it. I think you know pathophobia always it goes hand in hand because you don't want to catch
yeah,
something. But
yeah,
you know, look at kids; they're not afraid of germs. They literally put their mouth on a shopping cart, and I know this from experience.
yeah.
I know this, and then turned around and caught um walking pneumonia from it. I knew it.
Yeah,
As soon as he put his mouth on, I'm like, he's gonna get sick, and he
this
got
kid,
sick.
let me tell you. Oh my
Oh man, let me tell you
gosh.
about these people, brother.
Ugh.
Oh no, I know, I know.
The stuff that's just like, hey, let me look at that. No, don't do that.
Don't do it. Don't do
Too
it.
late. It's been
Don't.
licked.
It's way too late. It's been licked, and once you lick it, that's it. You know.
Ah,
Uh, Yeah, that's parenting right there, right?
Yeah,
Parenting.
that's
Now,
if you don't know, you don't know. But if you do know,
you
you
know,
do know.
you know. Um, Trypanophobia, that's the fear of needles and injections. Now, I know a few people that don't like needles. They don't
Yeah.
bother me none. I've literally watched swallow like that at work, but not so much from germs. I mean, that's different though. Like the public is mad
I
gross. I get
I
it. The
used to
public is
work in a
mad
restaurant
gross. I did
and I
too.
used to wash dishes,
Same.
but I also, because we didn't have a janitorial staff, guess who has to
Oh
do the bathroom?
no, no.
I ugh, I'm
I did
gonna
it
tell you.
once. I cleaned
The
bathrooms
one
one time.
time I told them afterwards, I was like, never
No,
again. This is a
nope.
management job right
I
here.
will not. I will not clean a bathroom.
Public
Nope.
restrooms? No.
I'll clean
No,
my
no,
own,
no,
which
no,
is
no.
fine. I'll clean my own, but
Yeah,
that's about it.
because I did that, theoretically, or people in your family, you did that.
Yes.
But at a
Yes,
restaurant, if
100%.
somebody
No.
makes a horrible, awful mess,
Oh no.
after that one time, I was like, nah, this is a
No.
management problem. Management cleans this from now on. Never
Right. They
again.
tried to make me do that at a job once that wasn't my job, and I
I
told them I
already got to
wasn't gonna do
wash
it.
the dishes. Not going to wash the bathrooms
I'll
anymore
tell you,
after
I'll tell
this
you,
one time.
and Apple like makes a good point here. Like, have you ever been in the bathroom and watched somebody go to the bathroom and then not wash their hands?
That's Deadpool.
I
Deadpool says that.
I, I literally will like I've told people, hey, get back there and wash your hands, especially if I see you coming out from the stall
That
doing what you're
Sears
doing.
bathroom
Wash your
sometimes, the
damn
one right
hands.
around the corner
Yep.
from
I never
Shoes
went to that one.
sometimes.
I would never go to that one. Never did.
They wanted me to wash that once after like a
No.
similar disaster.
No. Hell
And I
no.
was like, nah,
Nope.
nah. This is a
No.
management problem. You do that. This is a management issue. You take care of that. Thanks.
Yeah, no. There's no way on God's green earth it's not
Ooh.
it's not going to happen. Yeah, why who's eating and drinking in the bathroom? Who does that? There was once a guy when I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods. He left, they ate a whole, oh yeah, that's aggravating too. Like little spritz, done. There was a guy and he used big old tubber, he used Tub Lumpkins. He was eating a normal sized box of Triscuits or Wheat Thins, whatever. He wasn't thin. A
Some
box
kind
of
of crackers.
Triscuits and left the box on the shelf. And I called it out. I go, who leaves a whole eaten box of Triscuits? And all I heard was this blobulous being was like, maybe you should worry about to get back to work. I'm like, well, maybe you should learn to throw away your trash, champ. You have to puff. What are you gonna do? You're gonna tire out. And he was in one of those I don't know. This ain't that kind of show. I'm leaving that alone. And he was a Tub Lumpkins. He was a Tub Lumpkins. Like he came, like I saw him on his little motorized scooter. I'm like, bro, you're not doing nothing. Just go shop. Maybe not eat Triscuits at Dick's Sporting Goods and leave the box laying there. I get. One time I saw someone. Oh no, that goes in the trash.
Do that,
No,
ladies and gentlemen.
that goes
Never,
in the
ever,
trash.
ever.
Never.
Don't.
A bath. I want.
I don't
I
care
will
how much you've been drinking beforehand.
No.
Mm.
Listen, there's certain things, even if I drop it on the floor here, I won't eat.
No.
I will not. But like if it's a chip or a pretzel, yeah, that's fine. But anything
if it has
else,
any chance to absorb anything,
no. And I've got
straight
clean kitchen
in the
floors.
trash.
I've got clean kitchen
straight
floors.
in the trash.
But you drop you drop a donut upside down on the floor, to the trash it goes. I'm not eating
straight in the trash.
But a pretzel
or a taco
on a carpet.
Or a taco on a carpet.
On a carpet. You cleaned it.
I did. I've
Poorly.
always made sure I cleaned up my mess. Well, except for the other time where you had to use the hose. That was outside.
Listen, you stood out there with me while I did it, so I give you credit for that.
Well, that's because you made me. But
yeah, damn right I did. With your lactose intolerant ass. 100% I did.
Now we know, and now we can not do that anymore.
All right, now we got about 5 minutes left. What is your phobia that you were going to mention earlier? Not really phobia. Yeah, exactly.
My favorite to say is triskaidekaphobia. What is it? Fear of the number 13, which, believe it or not, a lot of people have.
That's because
There's all
an
that
unlucky one.
Friday the 13th and all that other kind of stuff. People get irrational about it. It's like I said, an irrational fear, and that's really what phobias are all about. Mostly they're irrational fears, and some of them, I think, as you mentioned, are ancestral fears.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, I agree.
They're kind of encoded in our DNA
hardwired.
almost.
Yes, I agree.
Because somewhere in the past, our ancestors over many generations were like, this is a terrifying thing.
Yes.
Stay away from it. And they told so many people after them that it kept on going and it got stuck as a part of us.
Yep, 100%. I agree. Yeah, 100%. So yes, there you go. There's your show on phobias. I hope you all liked it. As always, please subscribe, like, comment. We appreciate the comments tonight. Let's run it down. Who showed up? So we had James Boggs always. He had to get up early, so he probably dipped out. No worries there. Then we had Z-Man show up with the "What's up, Rob? What's up, Z-Man?" Then, of course, we had the ever lovely Apple Tree Jamboree show up to drop the wave and then drop some knowledge on us. And then finally, the Deadpool showed up and decided to bring his humor into our chat. So thank all of you for showing up. We appreciate and love each and every single one of you. And yes, Friday the 13th was in October this year. I didn't do anything for it. I don't care. It's just a day to me. It's all the same nonsense.
I was probably busy. I don't know. I'm always busy.
Always busy. So yes. Anyways, guys, join us next week for another episode of This Uncanny Earth, your favorite paranormal podcast. As always, why be boring when you can be uncanny? We will see you folks next week. Peace. Don't be afraid of uncanniness, uncanny phobia.